Sorry guys. Oh my god, technical issues. Thanks for telling me that. Hopefully you can hear me now. Please tell me if you can hear me now. Right, we are here in the house. The microphone eventually started to work, I think, and hopefully you can hear me now. Right, so who are you? Where in the world are you from, and what time is it where you are? Let's have a look here. And hopefully we've got a few people in the house now. So we've got Robert from Birmingham, Peter from Denmark, Chris from Crewe, Eric from Norway. We've got Watford here, Wisconsin, USA, Virginia, Suffolk, Manchester, Kuala Lumpur. Henry from Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to the group. Amaya from Uganda. Wow. Oh, India. We've got people from India here. Oh, from everywhere. Boston, and it's 1 p.m. in Boston. Right. Well done. Oh, Italy. Welcome, Italy, to the group. That's Angela from Italy. And Newcastle upon Tyne, Poland. Loads of people. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Sorry about the sound issue at the start there. So for those of you who are new to this live Q&A, you might be because we have done it on YouTube this time and we're normally doing it on Facebook. But this is basically what I'm doing. You know, we're all in these very, very tough times. Most of us are stuck indoors and we're bored. And I just thought, well, what can I do, right? You know, someone said this, watched it on the telly, and they just said, if everyone does one thing for other people, then we're all going to get through it, you know, really easily. And it's actually really true. And this is what I can do for you guys. All right, I'm going to answer your questions. We're going to have a good old chat, and hopefully it's going to brighten up your week. All right. So welcome to everybody here. Chris from Leicestershire, Stefan from Croatia, Sharaj, I think, from Saudi Arabia, and David from Nevada. 10 a.m. it is out in Nevada. Oh, wicked. Alvaro, first time on here. And have we got? Oh, we've got 97 people on here at the minute. Very good. Well, welcome aboard. So this is how it basically works. It's my live Q&A sessions. Like I said, I've only just started them a few weeks back just to help you through these tough times, and people have been filling in a form on my website with their questions. So I am going to answer them questions. If you want to add questions on that form, because we'll be back next week, no doubt, you know, you can fill out that form and I will obviously get round to them next week. I will also try my very best to answer questions that you put into the comments now as well. So we're going to have 15 minutes at the end where I'm going to look through comments that people are asking as well. And yeah, and that's it really. We're going to just have a good old chat. I've got some really, really good questions this week. Absolutely brilliant ones. Let's get started, shall we? The first one is from Mark Gittos, and he's from Yorkshire. He says, I've been looking at ND filters. Is it better getting the individual filters, or are the variable single filters just as good? I'm not sure, and I want to get sorted because I want to do some long exposure photography. Yeah, and that's basically it. Okay, Mark, here we go. Let's answer your question. Here, for those people that don't know, this is a variable one. I'm going to have to try and do my best to show you what it does. So as I twist it, you can see it's getting darker, and then you can see it getting lighter. Okay, so it's a variable ND filter. And for those people that don't know what an ND filter is, it's basically a filter that you put in front of the lens, which stops light coming into the lens, and it enables you to do long exposures, all right, which is a really cool effect. Go over to our website, we've got free tutorials, and we've got a fully paid course on there as well. But just in short, that's what it is. And you can get these ones here, which are variable, which means that you twist them and they get lighter and darker. And then you get these ones here, which are solid, and they slot into a filter holder system. This one here is a 6-stop ND filter, okay? The question that Mark is asking is it better for him to buy one of these, which is the variable one, or one of these? And he says quite specifically here, it's for long exposure photography. Well, Mark, I'm going to make this very easy for you. These are a lot better for long exposure photography. And the reason is this. They are a solid stop of light. So this is a solid 6 stop of light. When you're using variable filters, it's very easy to knock them while you're zooming in and out. You can very easily get because you have to work out exposure times and things like that. So it takes you ages to set up work and exposure time out. And then you just imagine that you've worked your exposure time out. You go to zoom in your lens a bit or whatever you do. And then you've changed the density of the filter. You've got to work it all out again. It's an absolute nightmare. The other thing when you're using variable ND filters is that you can't mix them with graduated ND filters, and that is a real pain when you're doing long exposure landscape photography. So these can be mixed with graduated filters. I'll grab one now. Let me just grab one from my box of tricks for you, right? Here we go. Let's have this one. Sorry, guys. That one there. There we go. Now, so here is a graduated ND filter, and that darkens down skies. So I can now darken down the sky, add a 6-stop ND filter, and then that will give me a lovely balanced dark sky and that lovely long exposure look that you want. Now you can't mix filters together when you've got a variable ND filter. So some of you are probably sitting there saying, well, why have you got a variable ND filter? They are brilliant for filming. That's what they're mainly for. So if you're filming, they're very easy to control when you're out and you're filming, and you want to open up the aperture. So you use a variable on the front of the lens, which you can twist to get the right aperture for your films. Okay, so there is the answer to your question, Mark. Hopefully that's answered it. I mean, the simple answer is get the single filters, not the variable one. Right, I'm just going to move my camera a little bit like that. There you go, guys. Right, the other thing with these live Q&As is if you've got an opinion or you want to help out Mark, you might want to tell him what brand to get, or if you know of any brands. I mean, there's Leaf filters, there's Kukin and all of that. Put it in the comments, because it's really good. I mean, I don't know everything, right? No one knows everything, and it's really nice. That's what this live Q&A is all about. It's not just about me shouting at you guys. Put something in the comments and help people out as well. All right, let's have a look at who we've got in here. Jeff, hello from New Jersey in the USA. Well done. I love it. I love to go. I'm going to go out there one day. I'm going to travel all around the USA. So when I retire, that is my thing. I'm telling you, that is my absolute dream. I'm going to go out to the USA when I retire. I'm going to hire a big car and just drive around for months. So welcome. I love the Americans, and you are more than welcome. Rory Hennessy from France spoke to you last week. Still haven't received my bottle of brandy from you, but don't worry, I'm waiting for it. Maria from Italy. I hope you're doing well out in Italy. I know you've had it just as bad as we're getting it in the UK. So yeah, we know what you're feeling out there. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Keith, we've got Keith Ridley here. He hasn't put where he's come from, so I don't know where he's from. Called Keith, I'm going to go for England. That's my guess on it. All right. So it says, "Hi Mark, is a DNG file a RAW file? No doubt it's a very simple answer. However, I don't know the answer at the minute." Oh, it does say where he's from. Lincolnshire. There you go. Right, Keith, there is a really easy answer to that. A DNG file is a RAW file. It's just a different version of a RAW file. So for those people that don't know what a RAW file is, it's like it's an uncompressed file that you use for post-processing. All right, so if you're going to post-process your shots in Lightroom and other programs, you use RAW files. You set your camera to RAW. Now, each camera brand has its own RAW file, right? So Canon's is CR2.CR2. I think Nikon's is NEF. What's Olympus? Put it in the comments. Someone tell me what Olympus is. And Fuji, I should know this because I've just been using one, is RAF. I think a Fuji is an RAF. Someone correct me in there. The point I'm making is they are all raw files made by them camera brands. Now a DNG is a generic raw file. It's a file that you can open up in any program, Lightroom or Affinity Photo, any program that does photo manipulation. You can open up a DNG in, right? My recommendation is to use DNGs. When I import into Lightroom, I convert them from whatever camera that they're from into a DNG. And there's a few reasons I do that. It's one, because I just want to keep everything neat. So no matter what camera I'm using, they're all DNGs. Two is it's generic. A DNG is generic. So if I ever want to move away from Lightroom, or just I'm going to use any program at any time, it will work because it's a generic file. It's a DNG file. With a Fuji file, you'd have to use their software or Lightroom, you know, or other software that opens up Fuji's files. But the point I'm making is a DNG is generic. It's going to open up anywhere. The other thing is DNGs are smaller in size generally, and I've got a little proof of that here, because what I've done is I'm just going to share my screen with you. Give me a minute here. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Here I've got two pictures, all right, and this is the raw file from the Fuji camera. This is the RAF file, and then this is the DNG version of it. So that's the raw one, and that's what I've converted it to via Lightroom. Okay, so let's have a look at the file size, and there you go. So you can see that the Fuji file, the Fuji raw file, is 56 megabytes, or 57 in fact, whereas the DNG is 43. Okay, I'm going to come back to camera now. Let's come back to camera. So as it converts it from the camera brand's file to a DNG, you do get smaller file size. You do not lose any quality, neither. You get smaller file size. And if you're working between Lightroom and Photoshop, it's generally a bit quicker, but I'm thinking you're probably talking milliseconds and you won't even notice it. But that is another benefit as well. So the answer is that they're the same. A DNG is a raw file, okay? For argument's sake, it's a raw file. And my recommendation is to convert your pictures from whatever camera you're using to a DNG if you're going to go through a program like Lightroom. I hope that has answered your question. Again, if you've got other opinions or you agree with me, whack it in the comments. Here we go. An Olympus raw file is an ORF. That's it. I knew it was. I've got an Olympus camera down there as well. I knew it was something. Anyway, there you go. I can't remember everything all of the time. Neofix, good day from Australia. Well, hello. And Mr. Caps from Kerala in India. I've been to Kerala. Maybe it was you I was speaking to last week. But what an absolute beautiful place Kerala is. And the food, oh my God, the food in Kerala is the best. Right, let's go on to the next question here, which is from Rakesh from Nepal. All the way over in Nepal. Hello, Mark. I love your tutorials and tips on photography. Thank you very much. My question is, what is meant by depth of field in photography? Actually, what he's put is what is meant by depth in photography, right? I think he means depth of field in photography, okay? So I will show you. I'm going to share the screen because we've just today released a blog post, as a matter of fact, on that exact subject. So it gives me a good opportunity to show that off to you. And here it is here. So if you go over to our website, you can see that you will see this blog post, all right? What is aperture in photography? So depth of field, Rakesh, is controlled partly by an aperture, all right? And it is, here it is here. I wanted to show you this illustration that I made, all right? Because it's so at the School of Photography we teach mainly via visual and then doing, all right, because we teach for graphics and pictures and obviously loads of words, but graphics is a good way to teach you this particular subject. Okay, so depth of field is the distance around the focus point in front and behind here that is sharp in your image, right? So the focus point is your focus point, it's what you focus on, obviously. The depth of field is the distance around that focus point that is sharp, okay? A shallow depth of field is only a small part of distance is sharp around your focus point. A long depth of field, a lot of the picture is sharp around your focus point, right? Here's a couple of examples here. So here's a portrait using a wide aperture. So wide apertures create shallow depths of field, okay? So this has got a shallow depth of field. Focus point is the eyeball. And as you can see, in front of the model and behind the model, it's very blurry, okay? That's got a shallow or short depth of field. Whereas this picture here, which is a landscape, is sharp from the foreground to the background. That's got a long depth of field. Okay, I hope that that's helped you out, Rakesh from Nepal. I hope you're doing well out in Nepal as well. We don't get to hear about that. We only get in, you know, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but with this COVID-19 crisis around the world, we only ever hear about what's going on in Europe and actually only a few European countries and America. The rest of the world we never hear about. So I hope that you are doing all right out there in Nepal. Let's come back to camera. Let's come back to me. Here we go again. Best Darius from Iceland. Best regards. Thank you. You too. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Ivan from Boston. Another place I need to go to in the world, I can tell you that much. Here we go. This is a good one. I like this. I'd like to get more into street and product photography. You know, what is a good multi-use lens that would work well for both of these niches? Okay, so it's a sort of general zoom lens that you want, and I don't do much product photography, but I do a lot of documentary and street photography, and I'm going to show you something right now. Let's go back to this here, and I want to show you my project over here. All right, so my documentary work, which is all of this kind of stuff here, is all shot with this lens here. This is the Olympus 12-40. I'll show you a few more shots first, and then we can, so this is like my sort of documentary work, all right? And I'll walk around with this camera and take these kind of shots. So I'm just going to shut that down. If you want to go and have another look at that, that is my personal website. It's not the School of Photography. That's where you'll find my portfolio and stuff like that, okay? Let's go back to camera. Here's the lens I want to show you. So I'm taking that with this lens here. I can't tell you how absolutely bloody brilliant this lens is for that kind of stuff. That is street photography. The camera is so small, it's very light. This is an f2.8 throughout, and I just walk around with this. It's just, I love it, honestly. I do love it. This is like the best camera for that type, for that type of work. As you go up through the sensor sizes, so that's a micro 4/3 camera. So that one, just so, sorry, that's a 12-40, okay? And that will also do product photography as well, because mainly for product photography, you want an as your eye sees focal length and a wide aperture. So this has got that. This has got 25mm, which is as your eye sees, and an f2.8. You can't go wrong with it, all right? Then you've got this one here. Oh, this is the Fuji X-T3. Fuji sent me this stuff this week to have a play around with, and I can tell you now it's absolutely brilliant, but the size of it is a lot bigger. But this would be the type of lens that I would recommend for a crop sensor camera, okay? So this is a 16 to 55mm lens, and again it's an f2.8 throughout. Okay, so the point I'm making is, and that would do really well for street photography and product photography. So that's the general lens that you want. All right, you want one with a wide aperture and one with a range. And on a full frame camera, if you've got a full frame camera, that would be about 24 to 70, 24 to 80 kind of mil. All right, and that will not do you bad at all, as a matter of fact. For product photography, like I said, you might want a wide aperture because it's nice. You get like very small detail in the products where you get the rest of it blurry and that kind of stuff. And then also you can shut the aperture down to get a really sharp shot throughout. There you go. Now I've got lens hoods all over the gaff here, and I need to just put that back down and come back to camera. Oh, your tips on the course were great, but you want some more. Neofix. All right, thanks a lot. And there's a couple of questions here that are coming through. Tom, hi. John, hello. John, welcome to the group. And let's go on to the next question. Let's see how many people we've got watching. Wow, 117 currently. Very good. Right, let's go on to the next question. Gary Stevenson from Scotland. Hello, Gary. He says, do you clean your camera sensor yourself, or do you send it away? I clean it myself, right? But it is not for the faint-hearted. I can tell you that now. If you're not sure, send it away. But it's surprisingly simple to do. It's so easy. I made a blog post on it, all right, and I made a video on it, and to show you all about it. Okay, let's go to the screen over here, and here it is here. How to clean your camera sensor. All right, go onto my website, theschoolofphotography.com. Go to how to clean your camera sensor. All you need to do is type that in the search bar. As a matter of fact, if you just type in there, you know, clean or camera sensor, it will come up, and it tells you here how to clean your camera sensor. There's a video, it shows you how to do it. It tells you what equipment to get. It's got a lovely picture of me using a blower brush, right? And yeah, and there you go. And it's a nice blog, and that's what it does. Cleaning your sensor gets rid of these blobs that you see in your pictures, which are really annoying. Okay, so the answer to your question, quite simply, oh my god, I've lost the name. Sorry, Gary. I am sorry. I just totally lost your name there. So yeah, the simple answer to your question is I do mine myself, but it's not for the faint-hearted. All right. If you've just bought a brand new 5D, you know, Mark IV or the R5, which costs you thousands of pounds, I would get it cleaned professionally, personally. But if you've had a camera for a few years, give it a go yourself. All right. Watch that blog first and give it a go yourself. Let's go back to camera. Few more questions coming in. We've got Douglas from Scotland. Welcome to the group, Douglas. Next question is from Anne Kilpatrick. This question, I loved this, and I was looking forward to answering this question. And thank you. I don't get many questions like this, so it's really good when I can talk about the art of photography. Who are the best contemporary photographers in the UK? And can you point us to online galleries? Okay, online galleries, I'll start there. Tate Modern, okay, go to the Tate Modern. It's a wicked place. That's the one in London. And the V&A, all right? The V&A Museum in London. Lovely online stuff. Really good photography department, the V&A. They've been collecting photography since its invention. They've got some really early stuff there. Brilliant. So there's that. But now I'm going to... So it's a really specific question, this Anne. And Anne comes from New Zealand as well, right? And the best contemporary photographers in the UK. So that was a good one because it got me thinking. These are the two that I've chosen for you, Anne, and here is why. Let's go to my screen. And while we're on the subject, if anyone else has got good contemporary photographers or online galleries that they want to tell Anne about and everyone else in this group, put it in the comments, right? Just put it in the comments. It helps people out. So if you've got a favourite photographer or an online gallery, whack it in there for people to see. Right, let's start with Nick Brandt. Okay, he's a British photographer. He's an English photographer. The work that he's producing at the moment is some of the best that I have seen. Let's look at a few pictures first, okay? So this is from a series called This Empty World. It's done a few rounds on the internet. You may well have seen it before, but I personally don't think it is as popular or as famous, for want of a different expression, than it should be. I think this should be right up there with the best photography at this moment in time. And you can see what's going on, all right? So these are taken in Africa. And it's clearly about how man is taking over the natural environment. The shots are taken, I can't remember the exact date, but I think they're within the same week or the same 2 weeks. So each shot has to be taken within a certain period of time in a certain place as well. And then they're put together, all right? So it's a composite of obviously wildlife photography and man-made stuff like what you see here. But it really hits home, and it's also beautiful to look at as well. They're beautiful pictures in an aesthetic way, which sounds weird because we're looking at the destruction of the world aesthetically, and that sort of puts you off balance a bit. But I love them. I think they've got a really powerful, potent message. And you know what? You could argue that the current situation that we're in is all part of this, isn't it? These viruses come into our world because we are infringing onto their bloody world. That's the way you watch these documentaries. They'll tell you the hotspots are places like Africa and in Asia, where man is suddenly going into these areas where they've not been before. And there you go. Right, so there's one really good photographer. Look him up, Nick Brandt. There he is there. And here's the other one. I thought I would choose two from kind of contrasting genres. This is a guy called Doogie Wallace. And so people that know me, have watched my stuff before, they know that my documentary photography is what I do. It's what I exhibit. It's what I get funding from when I do my own photography work. And it's just my absolute love because you document history. Doogie Wallace is a Scottish photographer. You did say in the UK, so that counts, all right. He works in London, and this is a project, and it's called Harrodsburg, all right. And I'm going to show you a few. Let's go through a few like this first of all. So it's clearly street photography, documentary photography, all right? And on face value, you're probably thinking it's the same as a lot of other street photography that you've seen over the years. A flash going off in someone's face. It's been done before, blah, blah, blah. But no, the difference here is that Doogie Wallace is really hitting the nail on the head of a really important subject of now, and it's that wealth imbalance. Okay, so it's called Harrodsburg, and all the pictures are taken around Knightsbridge in London, around Harrods, and he goes up to people that have got just obscene amount of money with like glasses that are worth thousands and Versace stuff here. There's Ferrari, look. And he's photographing this wealth and pissing people off in the process, which I love that. And look at it. Look at these people driving around in Ferraris around the middle, where you've got people in, where I used to live in the East End of London, you go into food banks, you know what I mean? And there's you can read about this if you're really interested. It says there about Harrisburg. It talks about the property market in London being worth £82 billion in 2012, when the whole economy was going downwards. The property market in London was going upwards, and I can't remember if it said 40 or 60%. 60% or 40 is empty. It's just rich people from around the world buying up this property in London. Mate, it's just sickening. It's just absolutely sickening that some people have got this wealth and all they want to do is this, right? This. It's sickening. Honestly, it gets me in there, and that is why I love this work, because it is so in your face, and it is so like, look at you guys. You know, so many people, including me, document the working class and the normal people of this world, but no one's gone full in your face at these people with obscene amounts of money that just, I don't know, you know, and he's doing it, right? And he's got in trouble a lot from doing it as well. So good on to Doogie Wallace, you know, get in there, and that is why I love his work. So there you go, and lovely question. Thank you so much for asking it. And look them people up. That's mine. That was mine. Obviously, you know, this is obviously photography is my opinion. If you've got any others, whack them. It don't have to be UK. Let's just fill Anne with loads of photographers that she can look at, all right? We've got Emily in the house from Australia. We've got Rory saying the cognac must be lost in the post. Yeah, I won't let you get away with it. And we've got Jane from Romney Marsh. And there we go. Let's get on to the next question, shall we? Back to me at camera. There we go. Gary Affleck from Scotland. There you go. So it says sometimes, this is another like arty shot, as a matter of fact, arty question. Sometimes you see a subject and you think it would be a great shot. You walk around and you shoot a few things, but it doesn't become an inspired shot. An example might be that you see a lovely lake or loch. I think he comes from Loch Winnock up in Scotland, so he's obviously got beautiful surroundings around him. And you think that, well, that's a great scene, but when you get the camera out, you can't get the shot, is basically what he's saying here. Now that happens to everybody, and that is where everyone starts. You see a scene, a lovely sunset, you get your camera out, you take a picture, and it don't come out nowhere near as beautiful as that scene that you saw. Okay, now here is my advice for this. Firstly, photography is a skill. Okay, it's about knowing how to control this piece of machinery to get a visual effect that you want. Control. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Control. Okay, if you haven't got that control, you are never going to get that visual effect that you want. So that is as simple as that. So the first thing is you need to get yourself skilled up, all right? And it doesn't come easy. YouTube, that we are on now, is a great thing, but it gives people false hope. It's like, get a camera, watch YouTube, ta-da, I'm brilliant. Well, of course, you all know that. This is not rocket science. You all know that don't happen, all right? You need to get skilled up. Properly skilled up, like you treat it as if it's another trade, because that is what it is. If it's like, I don't know, carpentry or bricklaying or mechanics or whatever, it's a trade that you would have to learn. Get that mindset, get skilled up. Then it is practice. There's never in a million years you're going to go out to these lochs and go, oh, there you go, that's the best shot I've ever taken in my life. That's never going to happen. You're going to have to go back, and you're going to have to plan for the shot. So I've been up to the lochs many times. It's one of my favourite places in the world to go on holiday. We go up there with the family quite a lot, and if you go on my website, you'll see loads of pictures of the loch. I walk around in the daytime. I look for places, I look for scenes, I look for points of interest, which he writes down here somewhere. And then I plan for what I'm going to do. Okay, I will plan what time of the day I'm going to shoot there. I plan what equipment I'm going to need to get the visual effect that I want. Okay, and I kind of figure out what type of light there will be, and that will dictate the exposure time, and so you've got half an idea before you get there. I've got a blog post on it, okay? Landscape photography, the importance of planning. All right, Gary, get yourself over there, watch that video and read this blog. It tells you all about planning. You get an idea, you scout for a location. I've just told you all of this, obviously. You figure out your settings, you make sure you get the right equipment, and then you get a shot like that, okay? And that video shows you how I got this shot and what equipment I used and things like that. It shows you the settings and everything, and it all comes from planning, okay? So it's knowledge. Landscape photography, I'm going to go back to camera. Landscape photography is knowledge, planning, and then creativity. All right, Gary, I hope that's answered your questions. Any other tips from anyone else, whack them in there. I need to know if I am still online. Yeah, I think I am. Comments are not coming through at the minute, guys. It's telling me this end unable to connect to chat, but it's telling me that I'm still streaming. So I'm going to carry on. I'm just going to carry on as I am, and hopefully you can write a few more comments and they'll come through in a minute. Okay, well, there you go. Hopefully it'll pop back in a second. Sorry about that. This is the trouble with the internet. You can never rely on it. I'm going to carry on anyway. As a matter of fact, if someone's watching this who knows my phone number, my phone's over there, send it a quick message, a little WhatsApp message or something like that, and at least I know that I'm not talking to my bloody self. Right, here we go. This one is from Les. Les, he asks, hi Mark, he's from Manchester in the UK, Les Campbell. Monitor calibration, how often should it be done? And is it capable of matching an iMac Retina screen? Yes, the calibrator will calibrate any screen, any decent calibrator will. Looking at monitor calibration tools, it's between the Datacolor Spider X Pro and the X-Rite One Eye Display Studio. Right, they're the two main ones actually. Any advice would be welcome. Okay, Les, here we go. When you buy one of these calibrating devices, and I'll come to which one in a minute, it recommends that you do it every month, right? Now, unless you're like an absolute angel, you're not going to do it every month. I have never done it every month for the whole of my life. This is going to be honest now. I do it once every 6 months, and I've probably before gone a whole year without calibrating my screen. And that's my fault really. But so I would just say, and actually I've calibrated my screen after 6 months and there was no change. So there you go. So you don't need to do it every month, even though they say you do. I think they say that so it gives you sort of, it gives you meaning to all the money that you've spent on the thing. So as long as you're calibrating it every few months, you'll be fine. The next thing is which one between them two. They are both brilliant. My advice is get the cheapest one. If you can get a deal on any of them, get it and buy it, because they are both highly regarded screen calibrators and they will both do the job very well. All right, I'm just going to tell you. Oh my God, the chat has frozen. Let's see if I can, just give me a minute here. I'm going to see if I can write something. Oh, I don't know. Hopefully it'll come back online in a minute. Let's go on to the next question. Let's go on to the next question, and that is from Myra from Tempe, Arizona. It's another place I want to go. I've got a Canon EOS 80D for Christmas from my boyfriend. I have zero knowledge on how to use the camera and do not know where to begin. My question is, where do I get started? And how do I take portrait photos? This is where you get started. You learn photography. You get a book, you sign on to a course, and of course we sell our book and we do our course, all right? So I recommend coming to us, but obviously there's other people. And the point I'm making is that's where you start, okay? Where you don't start is going on the internet and just reading blogs here, there and everywhere, watching YouTube videos, dare I say it, seeing as I make them, but it's actually true. They will throw up more questions than answers, okay? YouTube is a great place with loads of knowledge on it and loads of good things. However, it is like walking into a library where the books have been thrown all over the gaff, okay? So you imagine going into a library and you want to learn something and all the books are all over the floor, nothing neatly organised, you don't know where to start, and that is like YouTube. So it's a great place, but you don't know where to start. So you need to start by learning photography. You start right at the bottom, okay, and work up. Do not just jump into shutter speeds, which is what everyone wants to do. Oh, let's do shutter speeds. Oh, let's do apertures and things like ISO. No, if you don't know about composition, you don't know about focal lengths, you don't know about what lenses, you don't even know. I mean, some people come on my course, don't know what that is. That's absolutely true. And this is not, I'm not having a go at people for it neither. I swear to God, about 80% of starting photographers do not know what one of them is and what it's for. It's a lens hood, by the way, and it's to stop lens flare. But this is where I'm saying, this is what I'm saying to you, right? You need to start from the bottom and work up, just like any trade. So that's where you start. Good portrait lens, full frame camera. You want a 50mm prime lens or an 85mm prime lens. Brilliant. If that's a micro 4/3, it will be a 25mm or 40mm. And on a crop sensor, this is going to test me now. This is going to test me. 35mm or 50mm of focal length. You can get zoom. The lenses that I showed you earlier would be great for portraits as well. So, you know, this one here would be brilliant for portraits. This one here, the Fuji one. This is the 16 to 55mm Fuji. And I've got to say, this XT3 that they've sent me, fantastic. At a good price at the minute. They're a good price. Oh, and they're not just a good price. Our members have got a discount on Fuji equipment at the minute. So there you go. Yeah. So there you go. That's that. Hopefully that has although she did tell me she had the Canon 80D. So you stick with that, Myra. That's also a brilliant camera. As a matter of fact, it's a great camera, the one that you've got as well. Right. Okay, so we've not got long left. I'm going to answer a few more questions here. Actually, I might be able to keep going. For some reason, guys, the comments are not coming through my end, and I want to answer some of your questions. So all I can say is I'm going to answer a few more questions, all right? On my list here. I'm going to answer a few more questions on my list here. And put the questions in, and hopefully they will pop up in time. I don't really know how else to do it. This is technology for you. I have got a good internet connection, by the way, so I don't know what's going on. So yeah, just carry on commenting, and hopefully it will pop up in a minute. In the meantime, I will carry on reading these comments, okay? That was, here we go. This is a good question from Stephanie Smith in Wisconsin, USA. I am interested in giving street photography a try, but I'm generally shy and non-intrusive by nature. What is the best way to get started, and what etiquette should I be thoughtful of when I'm out taking pictures of strangers? What a great question. The first thing I'm going to say, don't worry about being shy. I've said this before on my courses, and I've said this to people a lot of times. Being shy does not dictate the interaction with people, even though you think it does. You know, like it's such an obvious thing, isn't it? I'm shy. so that means I'm not good at talking to people. In general life, that's probably true. But here is what you've got, right, to help you out here. This, right, you've got a barrier now between you and that other person. And that breaks down the shyness, right? And it's about having an insight of what you want to achieve, okay? That's the barrier that you'll break. That will break that shyness. If you see someone and they look like a fantastic character and they're sitting in a fantastic place outside a cafe and you can see that there's a lovely reflection from the window and you know that is a shot to get, you focus on that and you go up to them and that is your conversation. You know, hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm taking some photos. You know, I love taking photos on the street. This is a lovely scene. I would love to take your photograph. Would you mind? Someone would be flattered by that, right? They might say no because they might be shy as well. And if they do, you just go, thank you, don't worry. Yeah, thanks, it's all right, it's not a problem. And thanks for your time. And you walk on. And that's basically it, right? Now, I go out and do street photography and documentary photography a lot. I'm going to go to screen capture with me. Back to this project here. Let's have a look at some of the portraits that I took. This is a project I did for Olympus UK, and we exhibited it out in Southend. So there's a place in the UK called Southend. It's absolutely unique and it's a brilliant place. And I spent about 4 years documenting the seafront and the people in the seafront because I just think it's a brilliant place, and I wanted to capture it in a moment of time in history, because it's changing. Southend as a place which I'm very fond of, and it's not where I come from, but it's very close to where I come from. It's changing on a rapid pace, and I wanted to document it at this moment in time. So I went around and I asked people to take their portraits. Here's one there. There's another one there. That's not one that they didn't know. They didn't know, but that was a funny picture, and I think that describes Southend. There's a beach down here, but let's sunbathe on the pavement instead. And here's another portrait here. And here's another one here. And here's another one here. Okay, now, this is a great example, as a matter of fact, because you see things like this. See people in the winter sitting on the beach under an umbrella in the rain, eating a picnic. I tell you now, that will only happen in the UK. That will only happen in the UK. And it's something that you've got to document, in my opinion. So I did. And that's what was there for me. And I just talk to these people and I take the shot. I say, do you mind? And they go, no. Sometimes they go yes, or they go no. And if they say no, I walk off. And if they say yes, I go, thank you. And I've got about 1 minute to get that shot. Now, this is the important thing. Have you set your camera properly? All right? This is your knowledge, okay? So most of these were taken with this camera here, the Olympus. So I've already got it set to 25mm focal length. I've already got the aperture set to f2.8. I've got the ISO on auto, and I'm making sure that my shutter speed is fast enough. And then I'm getting composed, and bosh, I'm taking the shot, okay? So you've got to do your work first. There's no point going up to someone and then taking your lens cap off and mucking about, all right? You're set up to go first, because you've got 30 seconds to get that shot. Anyway, Stephanie, I hope that's helped you out. And I suppose the main point I wanted to make there was, don't be shy. Shyness is not an excuse. It's actually an excuse to overcome your shyness. Photography. I've seen some great photographers that are shy, if you like, and what makes them great is their direction. You can just see it. You can see it in their brain, man. They know what they want visually, and they describe what they want visually, and they get it. And then they walk off and they're shy again. Okay, so Stephanie, get out there, take some street shots, hashtag the School of Photography, and whack it on social media. We've got Instagram and we've got Facebook and everything. Hashtag the School of Photography. Show us your work. All right, I've been looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully you are still commenting. Just as an update, nothing is bloody coming through. and it's actually really annoyed me because I wanted to answer some of your questions. Keep going. You never know. You never know, guys. It might kick back in. So just keep going, please. I've got enough questions to get me going for a little while. I'm going till 7 o'clock. So UK time, 7 o'clock. Right, here we go. Doodly-doo. Yep, that was Stephanie there. The next one is from Jennifer Box from Warwickshire. She says, I shoot in neutral picture control, but I've been told that I should shoot in standard. What is your take on this, please? Firstly, no one can tell you what you should and shouldn't do if you like the look that you've got already, okay? So that's the first thing. I hate that. I bet you it's from a camera club person. Always, I love camera clubs. They give me probably about 50% of my money. But there's always someone in a camera club that knows it all, isn't there? There's always someone, you should do it like this. Well, you shouldn't. You should do it how you want to do it, right? Shooting in neutral or shooting in standard is actually a personal preference. I shoot in standard. Whatever camera I get, I put it on its standard mode because I change it in Lightroom anyway. I've shot in neutral again. Change it in Lightroom anyway. So if I shot in neutral or shot in standard, I would still get the same result at the end of it, because really all you want is the raw data. So if you're post-processing it, which you should be, if you're taking things seriously, if you're just like snapping away, that's absolutely fine. But if you are taking photography seriously, I'm going to come back to camera now, sorry, I should have done that earlier, technology. If you're taking photography a little bit more seriously, you should be post-processing the shots. And if you are post-processing the shots, then shooting in neutral or shooting in standard is really going to make not much difference anyway, because you'll change it when you get back into Lightroom. Okay. So, what's the time? Okay. This quick one from I'm just going to try and answer some quick ones here. Helen Noble from Wales. Are you planning on any macro info in the future, or mirrorless stuff? Well, the simple answer to that is, Helen, is yes. We are planning a macro course, a full macro course that will be coming soon. I don't know how soon, but it's definitely going to be coming soon. Keep your eye on your email. Sign on to our email list, and we will get going. Rory Hennessy from France has asked a question. Firstly, this is why I'm going to answer this just this last time, and unless I get that bottle of cognac. This is Rory Hennessy from the Hennessy Brandy Company out in France. Unless I get that bottle of cognac, this is the last question I'm going to ask for you, I'm afraid, right? So he's asking about our assignments. So we set assignments for our members, and it really keeps people going and really inspires them to work. What he's basically saying is, how are we going to do that? Because in this current situation where no one can go out, well, we've got a new assignment for release on Monday of next week. All right, and it was lucky because we've pre-filmed it, and we pre-filmed a few assignments, some that require a bit more going out, and some that you can do on your daily walk or indoors and stuff like that. So we have got an assignment that will suit these times going out on Monday, and it is actually a really good assignment. I'm not going to give the game away. It is a good assignment, and it does suit people who are in lockdown, and hopefully it will keep you going. So basically the answer to your question is, we have adapted the way we do things to suit the current situation. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably not going to be as good if you could really go out and, spend a day out and take photos and do the assignment that way. But we've got to do something, haven't we? The show must go on, and I'm sure it will. Okay, so that assignment is going to come out on Monday. Right, I'm going to answer one more question. Why is this chat thing not working? I don't know. So I'm really, really sorry. about that, but it doesn't look like the chat thing is working. I wanted to answer, so normally, just so that you know, I would have looked at your comments and answered your questions for the last 15 minutes. But I tell you what to do. Whack your questions in them comments, because it's probably there. It's probably there. You're probably seeing it. It's just I can't see it. So which means that I will be able to go back and look at the comments. So fingers crossed. All right. Let's answer another one. Let's answer another one here. There was one that I wanted to answer, and I'm trying to. There's a quick one. I'm going to answer this quick one here. It's from Eric from Norway. He says that he's bought a second-hand 5D. He was on here last week asking for advice on a second-hand camera. He's bought a second-hand 5D Mark II. Oh, that was it. He was asking for lens advice. And he's now bought a second-hand 24 to 105 f4 lens, which is a great lens. I hope you got it for a good price. The person he's bought it from has left a UV filter installed on the front of the lens. Shall he leave it on? Will it change in image quality? Very quick answer to that, Eric, is leave it on your camera. It doesn't change the image quality at all, but what it does do is protects the front of your lens from being smashed up. I've got filters on all of my lenses, and you know it's absolutely fine. So leave it on there. You've actually had a bit of a touch there, because they cost a few quid for that size lens. So you've probably got a bit of a bonus there with that lens. So let's have a look at. There was one on here that I really wanted to answer, and here we go. Right, this one is about histograms. So it's a bit more complex. That's why I wanted to answer this one. All right, carry on writing these questions. As to unable to chat. It's getting on my nerves now. So keep putting them questions in, and hopefully I can get back to them later on. When this is from Nancy from San Jose in California. Is that how you say it? San Jose? Yeah, it is. Anyway, in California. Welcome to the group. It's probably nice and sunny out there. It's absolutely peeing down with rain here in England. When speaking of histograms reference, it's often made regarding under and overexposure, or clipping to the left or clipping to the right. But what does it actually mean? And should and can adjustments be made? Let's go into Lightroom and look at a histogram, okay? Okay, so here's a picture of Tower Bridge, and here is the histogram of this picture, okay? Now the histogram is quite simple to think about actually. Over to the left are your darks or your blacks, and over to the right are your highlights or your whites, okay? So you've got blacks and whites, and it's a graph that shows you the detail that you've got within the picture, okay? So what I mean by that is, over here, if that was totally flat, if this graph was totally flat, it would mean that you have got absolutely no detail in the blacks or the dark areas of your shot. And if it was totally blank over here, I wonder if I can mimic that now. Let me just see if I can do that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what that's saying is that there's no blacks, there's no detail in the blacks. It's all your detail is over here in the lights. All right, now if I change the exposure the other way, now it's telling you that all of your detail is over in the darks, and you've got no detail over in the whites. Let's just double click over here like that, and then it breaks it down into colors as well. So you can, if you really want to get into it, you can look at how much detail you've got in the blues and the greens and blah blah blah. All right. Now what it's good for is this. So when you're out shooting and you're in bright sun, you look at the back of your screen and you can't tell if the picture is a good exposure or not because it's too bright. Put your histogram on. All you need to see is detail going across the whole scene. All right, it's as simple as that. If the histogram looks like that, then you have overexposed the picture. If the histogram looks like that, then you have underexposed the picture, and then you have to obviously adjust accordingly. But here's a caveat there. You've got to also think about the scene. If you're taking a picture of snow, it's clearly going to be over to the whites. If you're taking a picture at night and it's very dark, it's clearly going to be over to the darks, all right? Because there's no whites there. So you've got to be a bit careful when you're looking at your histogram. And that is what's just and should and can adjustments be made? Yes, of course they can be made. I'm going to show you what I mean. So if I double click on this highlights here, okay, look at how bright that is there, all right? And if I now hover over here, that is your clipping. You see there it says show highlight clipping. And what that means is areas of your picture that are just pure white, or what we say in the trade is blown out, okay? So there's areas that are blown out. But you can see that we do have detail in them whites, which means we can pull them back a little bit. So that's what I do. I grab the histogram and I pull it back like that, and I take them highlights out, okay? So there was some detail in there, but if I go over again, you can see that there's now only clipping here, okay? And if I go over to the black clipping, you can see it's telling me in this area here, excuse me, what that's saying is in that area there is no detail. And you can start pulling and pulling that about if you want to as well. And there you go. And there's a little bit of detail underneath there. And sorry, I'm going to go back to, because I said that a bit wrong. So over there it's saying that that is pure black. That's your black clipping. On the histogram, it's still telling you that there is some detail in them darks, so you can pull them out if you need to, which I've just done there. All right. So I hope that's answered your question on histograms. It is complicated, and trying to answer it in a few seconds is not easy. Right, guys. I mean, to tell you the truth, for the last 20 minutes, I may well have been talking to myself here. I haven't got a clue because I cannot see any comments coming through at all. But I tell you what you could do for me. If you press the like button, right, I think I can see the likes going up. So that actually might help me. If you press the like button, hopefully I can see if I'm still online. The other thing I need you to do is tell me if you have enjoyed this. We normally do it on YouTube, and obviously we have now done it over on we normally do it on Facebook, and now we're doing it over on YouTube. I need to know some feedback from you whether you want this again, okay? Because it's not easy to do. Obviously, I have to prepare for all these questions for you, and I enjoy doing it. I really do enjoy doing it, and there's no problem on my end, but there's no point me doing it to myself. So what I need you to do is put in the comments, yes, please, let's have some more. All right, so just tell me what you think and whether you want another Q&A. If you want your questions answered, yes, you can put them in the comments when they bloody work, but it's much better if you fill in that form. There's a link in the description of this video, and you can click on it. It's over on the website. You fill in the form, and then I can prepare for your question next week. I try to get round to everybody, and sometimes I can't, and if then I might get back to it next week. All right. So firstly, hit that like button. Tell me that you've liked it and you want it again, and just on a more serious note, I really do hope that this has broken up your week and brought you a bit of joy, because that's what I'm doing it for. I'm doing my bit. Everyone needs to do their bit. That's what I think, and hopefully this is my bit for you and you've enjoyed it. Thanks guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry for the comments not working. I'm going to just have a go at YouTube, I think. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Sign up to our mailing list and then you'll know whether we've chosen to do it on YouTube or Facebook, all right? It's been absolutely great talking to you. Thanks and goodbye.